Now, here's the host of Fast Talk, Doug Rice.
Welcome to the show. Of course, on this week's edition, we have, as per usual, Alexis Erickson in studio with myself, along with Kyle Petty in our remote studios down in Fort Worth, Texas. Brad Gilley is aboard as we break down what happened at Bristol, look forward to New Hampshire. And after the first three races of the NASCAR 2025 playoffs, Joe Gibbs Racing stands undefeated and in prime position to make a run at the title. But first off, I'm going to go around and quiz all of our panelists and get their overall impressions of a wild Saturday night of racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. Quick comparison. In the spring, there were 3 cautions in a race that Kyle Larson absolutely dominated. So that means there were 2 cautions for stages and 1 for cause. There were a lot more cautions this last time as they racked up a boatload of cautions. I think it was 14 cautions for well over 100 laps. So your thoughts about a night that tires dominated the storyline and no one outside of Ty Gibbs dominated the race, Alexis?
I think the word of the night was chaos. But sometimes chaos can be good, in my opinion. You know, look, we saw this same similar thing happen in the spring race 2 years ago, and everybody was like, quickly, how do we replicate this? How do we make this happen? It caught us all off guard, but we enjoyed what we saw. I think this is the closest thing that we have had to get back to that. I think that it created compelling storylines. You had drivers of varying speed and some that were going harder than others at times, and you had the bump and run looked to be back and useful in certain situations. So I found it to be quite entertaining myself.
Kyle Petty?
Yeah, so I think the spring race that we saw, the race that you referred to, the original tire race.
Yes.
I did enjoy that race. I did. This, I didn't enjoy at all. But I didn't enjoy the first race at Bristol either. Okay, so let me say that. I don't enjoy somebody just driving off, but I didn't enjoy this. And this was self-induced. This was something that the drivers wanted. They wanted these tires. They wanted certain things. The industry wanted this. And the Goodyear guy, when they interviewed him, he said,
loved it.
We gave them what they wanted.
Yep.
We gave them. So it's self-induced. They created the havoc and the chaos, as you mentioned. What changed this race from the other race, okay, and I'm going to say this is, we had, and you want to call it the bump and run, I just want to call it the get out of the way, because nobody moved off the bottom of the racetrack. Because the tires tore up so much, it made it treacherous to go up a half a lane. We saw all that rubber around the top. We didn't see that in that other race. In the other spring race that we had, we saw slow cars could move to the outside. Slow cars couldn't get out of the way. We saw Ryan Blaney pass Eric Jones all the way on the flat because Eric was not going to give up. Eric was not going to give up that inside line because he had to get down pit road. But Blaney was all the way on the flat. That's how slow they were running at Bristol. I don't like slow races. And I don't like when half the cars are running slow and the other half are doing something different. I just don't. So I didn't enjoy the race. I'm not going to say that it wasn't entertaining in some ways, but I personally was just in a bad mood yesterday, and that just compounded my bad mood. Okay?
It happens.
I like that. See, I look at it, for me, I feel the opposite in that I was wildly entertained. And here's what I enjoyed about it. And this, this is a part of being there and being able to see everything that was going on. But people would make choices. Yeah, the race pace was slowed down. There's no question about that, by about 2 seconds per lap. But then you still had people making choices. I mean, Austin Hill at one point said, you know what, forget this. I'm just going to go run at race pace. I may wear out my tires, but we're probably going to have a caution, and I'll go ahead and unlap myself on the racetrack. Or you would see people kind of maintaining what they were doing. Then all of a sudden they would say, you know what, maybe this is the lap I'm going to try and make that pass for third. But then all of a sudden when the tires would wear out, for some people it might be 40 laps, for some it might be 60 or 80. Brad Keselowski was trying to go 150 at the end of the race. All of a sudden, when they went down to cords, it was like instant. You'd see them pull up out of the groove, and things would slow down. And it was, to Alexis' point, there was a lot of chaos. And because they never got off the bottom, that really reminded me of like old Bristol before they had repaved it. Now, not in some of the same ways, but in similar ways for me. So in that there were so many different things happening and choices being made and 2 tire stops and all of that, I was entertained because you couldn't get up. You could not get up from your seat because you were afraid you're going to miss something.
Alexis, and I'm not even going to give you a leading statement here. we're 3 races in. We've made through the first round of the playoffs. Do you feel like there is a driver, not a team, not an organization, but a driver that has positioned themselves as the favorite moving forward?
No, not as the favorite. I don't, especially when you're talking about a specific driver. I can point to drivers who I think are doing well at this portion of the playoffs. But we all know that things happen so quickly in this sport, and your luck can turn around like that. So I don't know if there is a favorite. I would look at someone like Chase Briscoe. I think he's had a really great opening round to the playoffs. Obviously, you can look at the other Joe Gibbs Racing drivers. Even though you told me not to pick an organization, it's kind of hard not to when they won the first 3 races in the opening round of the playoffs. I think Ryan Blaney has had a good opening round. So, there are drivers that I can point to, but there isn't one that I'm going to say this is the driver you have to go through to get to, the championship trophy.
Kyle, do you have a leader in the clubhouse?
No. I think you would like to at this point in time. I think, and you mentioned all of them. You mentioned Briscoe. I'll throw Hamlin in there. I thought he had a good first 2 races. They had the issue yesterday, but they've been pretty consistent. When I look at it, Blaney's been consistent. At this point in time, you can only look at consistency. Who has run in the top 5? Who has run in the top 7 or 8? And I don't mean necessarily finish there. I just mean who has put their nose up there and has run there. Because Joey Logano, Joey Logano gets lapped yesterday. This is why I didn't like this race, okay? Joey Logano gets lapped in 30 laps and comes back to finish 5th in the race. The 47 car, I'm blank. Stenhouse spins on lap 150 and is leading the race at 250. You know what I mean? I mean, that just doesn't happen at Bristol. That's just not a Bristol-esque type of performance for either one when you look at that stuff. But what I'm saying is, Joey Logano hadn't had a top 10 in the last 8 or 9 races. And then he gets something out of this race, which points me that this was not a race. This was more of an exercise in tire management and all this stuff. It was not a race. So, but my point is, back to I digress there, is no one has, I told you I was in a bad mood yesterday. I guess I still am. No one has shown themselves and raised their hands and said, here I am, come get me. You got to go through me to get the championship.
Doesn't being here put you in a better mood?
It
though?
does. Listen.
I just want you to write a song.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in a bad mood, this is where creativity really jumps out.
I know everybody watching at home sees Doug's red shirt and his sports coat, but I'm going to tell you, the outfit he is wearing is absolutely phenomenal today, and it made me smile as soon as I walked in.
I'm not going to stand up. No. Of course, I'm so short. All my life, I've had to answer that question. I am standing up. Brad Gilly, your thoughts right now. We're 3 races in, first round of the playoffs. Do you have a driver that you're saying, yeah, I like what they've got going on?
If you phrase it that way, yeah, I would say Chase Briscoe. I mean, and this sort of goes to Kyle Petty's point on both sides. He qualified 31st and found himself running up front throughout the Bristol race. But for the first couple of races, he was really good. Truthfully, Bubba Wallace is another one that is running really well. But the same thing everyone has said. No one has just raised their hand and said, I'm the guy that you're going to have to go through. In fact, I don't know what this round is going to look like with New Hampshire, Kansas in the Roval. It might flip everything completely upside down.
Well, I agree. I don't think there's a favorite. I will tell you this, of people that have been finishing well. Joey Logano, on average, this is just average in the playoffs, he has 2 fifth-place finishes and a 20th. He is averaging a 10th place finish. Blaney is averaging 8.6. I'm only saying this to kind of gig all of the people that hate Joey Logano, saying, we've buried him this year. He's done. He's not going to win it. We hate him for last year. We hate him for the fact that he breathes on this planet. Hate away.
Yeah.
He's right back. It's
the playoff time.
Yeah,
but he's 9th in terms of points collected.
That's the big thing.
And that's what makes a difference.
Yeah, that is the big thing.
The points collected, yes, you're correct. But average finish, which I think at the end of the day can be very impactful.
Yeah, listen, it is impactful. But I think, and we're back to this, and we used to have this crazy thing at the race shop, and with us, you'd fall into a 5th place finish. You'd fall into a 10th place finish. And you take it and you went to the house, but you didn't feel as good about it as when you were running second or third and could see the leader when you blew a motor with 15 laps to go. You know what I mean? Because you felt like you had a shot at winning. When you fall into that 5th and 10th, you don't have a shot. And I think that's where Joey's at right now. He's finishing these races, and I'm not saying he's falling into them, but he does not legitimately have a shot at winning races, and hadn't for a pretty good while this year when we go back and look at it.
Eventually, you're going to have to win one or two.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
Coming up, we've got a very special guest from the NASCAR Foundation and joining us here on Fast Talk.
So you're a Toyota Cup driver and you just made it to the playoffs. Now all you have to do is win. Easy. Just turn left, right? That and start strong, take off, reach 200 miles per hour, maintain a good position, no big deal, lap again, time your pit stops, steer clear of accidents, talk to your crew chief like your best friend, and most importantly, turn left. Easy, right? You in? Get up to speed at tgrna.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
When it comes to maintaining your engine to run at peak performance, trust Z-Max Micro Lubricant. Z-Max soaks into metal, so it's easy to add to your oil or gas to disperse carbon buildup in your engine, fuel system, and transmission. Protect your vehicle's engine to the max with Z-Max. Check us out at zmax.com or visit us on Facebook and Twitter to find out more about our full line of products. Remember the name Z-Max for your car, big rig, small engines, firearms, and more. That's Z-Max Micro Lubricant.
I'm Ryan Blaney, and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
These cars are about to fire it off in anger.
Logano back across the stripe. Now Zane Smith putting on some pressure.
Side by side, Austin Cindric has him at the line, and he will take the lead into one.
Boy, what a save. We got cars sideways. It's Christopher Bell. He spins and collects a couple cars. Here comes Shane Van Gisbergen on the bottom. He's looking for second.
Now Chris Buescher fired out of a cannon at turn 2. He's right into the rear bumper of Ty Gibbs. Which way is he going to go?
Oh, it's a multi-car accident. I want to say 15, 20 cars. Looks like Austin Cindric is involved. Denny Hamlin. Guys, that took out about 2/3 of the field.
We have a fight on pit road between two crew guys. One of them is with Ty Gibbs. One is with Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski will see the white flag as he drives under the start-finish line.
Chase Elliott has battled at the front all night long. He's won the war. Chase Elliott has just punched his ticket to the playoff.
Awesome job, man. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
This is PRN.
Welcome back to Fast Talk here after a very interesting race at Bristol Motor Speedway. But right now we want to switch gears a little bit because we have an extremely special guest with the NASCAR Foundation, Nicole Krieger. Did I say that correctly?
Up.
Okay, fantastic. How are you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. I'm here in sunny Daytona Beach, Florida. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely. So we wanted to bring you on because you guys are doing something very cool for, I believe it is the 9th year in a row. Tell us about the Speedy Bear Brigade.
Yeah, so the month of September, it's Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, and it's also a very important holiday. On September 9th, it is National Teddy Bear Day. And so we spend the whole month of September taking our friend Speedy Bear and delivering him in the hospital. Here's little Speedy. So we've kind of been on a whirlwind tour delivering Speedy all over the country this month.
You know, Nicole, having been a part of being able to deliver bears to children over at Halifax and Daytona last year, it's an amazingly rewarding thing. But to me, it's not just about the person donating. It's about the children receiving something like this and walking into a hospital room and seeing the family with them and seeing everyone light up by getting a bear. What a difference it really makes in their world.
Yeah, that's right, Brad. I remember you guys came out and delivered bears for us at our pediatrics unit. And, you know, a lot of times the parents are just like, wow, we can't believe you're taking the time to come in. You know, when we can, we bring drivers. You guys were kind enough to come out and just maybe take the parents and the kiddos' minds off of things that they're going through. I was in Charlotte last week delivering bears with some of our drivers, and the mom had said to me, wow, he really hasn't spoken much in the past day. And y'all came in and he was just chatting away. And so that really makes you feel good because it's just a teddy bear, right? But it makes a difference.
Yeah, this is Kyle, and that's it's so much more than just a teddy bear, and you know that, Nicole. I think, but what I want to ask a question is about the NASCAR Foundation, and you guys do so much. We're talking about visiting kids in hospitals, giving them a Speedy Bear, and this. But when we look at the things that you do during the year, this is just the tip of an iceberg. Y'all do so much more. Talk us through a little bit of what the foundation does do in different communities.
Well, thanks, Kyle. I mean, you have been a part of what we do from day one. We actually will celebrate our 20th anniversary, believe it or not, next year. And when Betty Jane France, our founder, started the foundation, she really wanted to be all about children's health and wellness. And, that's how our pediatrics units, we have two, one here in Daytona Beach and one in Homestead. That's how those were started. Our partnership with Victory Junction obviously stems from children's health and wellness. How can we be in our race communities and help those kids, whether it's sending them to camp or, we do festivals in our race markets where we bring kids to the track and we teach them about eating right, exercising, healthy living. We give them bicycles and helmets and new tennis shoes sometimes. Everything that we do really centers around the kiddos in our race communities and how do we help them be happy, healthy, and, how do we do that?
Nicole, I can tell that this affects you very deeply. I love the fact that you call them kiddos, by the way. I think that's really darling. How does it affect Nicole Krieger? I know the kids smile and they get excited to get a teddy bear, but you can't be around all this and it not have a personal impact on you, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was never blessed with children. That wasn't in the plan for God, which God gave my husband and I. So when I get to go, I've been at camp. I've volunteered at Victory Junction. I try to go to as many hospitals and deliver bears as much as time will allow. And it does mean a lot. When you see a kid smile or you hear a parent, we gave bikes to kiddos and the mom was like, well, we can't afford that. And I said, no, there's not a fee. This is from the NASCAR Foundation. And the mom literally starts crying. I mean, how can you not be affected by that? It could be the smallest thing, $25 to give a Speedy Bear, it really means a lot. So I feel like the luckiest person on the planet to be able to work for the NASCAR Foundation and be a part of our sport and know that our sport is so generous. And I think sometimes folks don't realize all the things that people are doing behind the scenes, whether it's Brad going to the hospital. People don't necessarily know, Brad, that you all came and delivered bears, and that's okay. That's fine. But I will put our sport up against any sport out there with how generous everybody, our NASCAR fans and our teams and tracks and everybody are in our communities.
Well, Nicole, it's clear and obvious how much this has touched you personally. But if somebody's out there and they want to be able to help, you mentioned $25 to donate a Speedy Bear to a child in need. What are some other things? How can people out there get involved?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Go to our website, NASCARfoundation.org. We always have something going on. I know folks tease me because I'm always talking about we're doing this or we're doing that. So go to our website. You could always make a donation. Obviously, $25 delivers a Speedy Bear. We do that all year long. We have our events listed and the things that we'll be involved with throughout the years. There's opportunities to volunteer and it's all on our website. So NASCARfoundation.org is a great place to go and learn about what we're up to.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything that you do, that the NASCAR Foundation does. We really enjoyed talking to you today.
Well, thanks for having me on and giving us an opportunity to share what we love doing. We really, really appreciate it.
Nicole Krieger with the NASCAR Foundation Executive Director. We'll be back with more Fast Talk.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years
to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR. From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
This is Kyle Petty for Echo Park Automotive. As you might imagine, I know a thing or two about cars, and I'm here to tell you about a whole new way to buy a car, truck, or SUV. Did you know that Echo Park Automotive has over 95,000 five-star reviews? On top of that, every car that Echo Park Automotive sells goes through a 190-point inspection to make sure that it looks and drives like new, so you leave happy. It's even in their name, Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner. The official used car dealer of Speedway Motorsports.
I'm Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
It's hard to believe in this day and age in the United States of America that children are hungry.
Our time on this planet is short. We have to give back to those in need.
Every child has a chance, no matter what obstacles they may encounter.
Never have we been taxed more as a society to help kids the way we are right now.
At Speedway Children's Charities, our mission is simple. Help every child we can.
Because all children
deserve joy
and hope
and love.
I'm PRN's Doug Turnbull, co-host of the 5 to Go podcast, a weekly deep dive into 5 motorsports issues. Devin Kupka gives the Gen Z view.
One thing that I've never seen before, when the cars got 4 wide, everybody stood up cheering.
And championship-winning mechanic Dan Elliott leans on his decades in the garage and promoting.
Unless everybody is aware of the rules, then no, it's not fair for everyone.
Listen to the 5 to Go podcast on GoPRN.com and subscribe on Apple and Spotify.
We greatly appreciate Nicole Krieger from the NASCAR Foundation for coming on and talking about their Speedy Bear program and anything that can help kids, especially kids in stressful situations, smile and feel a little bit better. We heartily endorse that. So if you can help out the NASCAR Speedy Bear program and the NASCAR Foundation, you're doing a really good thing. And Kyle, I know that speaks to you
Yes.
because you've spent a great part of your life doing things to help benefit kids.
Yes, and listen, what Nicole does and what the NASCAR Foundation does is really special. I think that gets lost sometimes in the shuffle. And I have to say, I was getting ready to say, I'm in a better mood after listening to Nicole talk about this. I know I was in a bad mood yesterday, but this has put me in a better mood, so I'm going to be good the rest of the show. But yes, what they do, and listen, and she said, it's just a teddy bear. And, and I kind of went back at her and said, it's more than a teddy bear. It is more than a teddy bear. It is so much more to these kids that are in the hospital. It is so much more. It's a stranger's face. It's that bear that you give as a gift. It's someone other than their parents or their family reaching out to them, and they feel like the world cares. And I think that's what the bear represents to a lot of them. So that is really pretty special.
Brad, as we are here now after the first round of the playoffs, is there a surprise that you're looking at going like, I didn't think this team would be here at this point in time? And it can be a surprise. Oh, wow, they're fourth in the points. I didn't look for that. Or, oh, wow, they're already out, and I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I'll look on both ends of the spectrum. And honestly, and this isn't piling on to anything, but yeah, it is a surprise to think that one person, one team finishes last in the first 3 races. And this is literally through no doing of Josh Berry as a driver. Like, I hope he comes back, repeats at Vegas, does something like this. But what a crazy first round for him. And the way it even ended on Saturday night at Bristol. But he starts things off, his car's bottoming out in Darlington. Every driver you talk to said there's no way you could have hung on to that car. Chase Elliott takes him out at Gateway. And then his car catches on fire at Bristol. I mean, to me, that is a big surprise because I do feel that Wood Brothers number 21 team with Josh Berry is so much better than that. They just had a comedy of errors happen to them, unfortunately. On the other end of the spectrum, I really didn't see Bubba Wallace jumping out, coming into the final race of the round of 16 with a 50-point advantage over the cut line. They didn't run too bad on Saturday night either, and I think that says a lot, especially considering that his teammate Tyler Reddick has really been pretty wildly inconsistent and struggling. Bubba Wallace and that team led by crew chief Charles Denike, they just keep making it happen week in and week out right now.
Kyle, anybody surprise you to the good or bad that you're going like, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming?
Well, yeah. So I think, and I to the good side, I'm going to go with, and we don't need to repeat it. Bubba has been a to the good side. That has just been phenomenal to watch that team since Indy, since that win at Indy. It's like, man, that did so much for that whole team. To the bad side, I know. And I keep going down to the local Harris Teeter here and looking on the milk cartons, but I have not seen Kyle Larson since May, and I don't know where he's at. He has just totally disappeared, and it's like they were pumped up over a 5th or 6th place finish a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we're back in the game. We're doing something. That's not Kyle Larson. We're talking about what we referred to 4 or 5 months ago as the world's greatest race car driver.
Right.
They could get in anything, anytime, and make magic happen. And they've just not been in the game. But I think there's a little bit of trickle down there because I've not really seen William Byron run up front like he should have. We know the woes of Chase Elliott, and the 48 of Alex Bowman is eliminated. So the Hendrick organization is not maybe where they need to be.
Alexis, I know in points scored he's done better, but average finish in the 3 playoff races for Kyle Larson, 21st.
Wow, yeah.
Can they find something and we start looking at them like Kyle said, world's greatest race car driver, or is this just not Kyle Larson's year?
I mean, I think you could probably look at it both ways, right? Because I think at any given time, a driver can find something. I mean, the way that this sport can change on a dime, and I talked about it earlier when we talked about, is there one driver that we're looking at to go through and definitely be the person you got to get through to win the championship? And I don't think so, because there's so many things that can happen. There's so many variables. But on the flip side of that, Kyle has not had a great couple months, probably several months, as Kyle Petty next to me just pointed out. So if you're looking at trends, no, I don't think they're trending in the way that's going to put them in a situation where we're like, wow, oh my gosh, where did Kyle Larson come from? But on the other side, anything can happen, so we'll have to see.
All right, there are 3 big teams in this game. There's Penske, there's Hendrick, and Gibbs. And then as far as I'm concerned, there's everybody else.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about where are the big 3 right now in comparison to each other when we come back here to Fast Talk. Make your plans now to stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa when NASCAR returns to Las Vegas. They have great race ticket and room packages for you to choose from. The South Point also features a wide variety of excellent dining options at 11 different restaurants. Or you can enjoy the 16-screen movie complex and visit the 64-lane bowling center. Visit southpointcasino.com and make your reservations today. Stay where the racers stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa.
We work hard to keep our cars looking great on the outside, but engine components need our attention too. That's where you can trust Z-Max Micro Lubricant to disperse carbon buildup in your engine and fuel system, to keep your car or truck running at its peak. By soaking into the metal of your engine, Z-Max Micro Lubricant improves performance, extends engine life, and reduces emissions. Trust the many customers who've said, "Thanks for saving my engine." Find out more at zmax.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm Kyle Busch, and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
Hi, this is Brett McMillan. Join me each week for the True Reporters Roundtable, known as the Pit Reporters.
This is not what we're used to and accustomed to seeing. That, I think, with a backdrop, is why a lot of fans are a bit sour on Denny.
He still wants to play that role that now Denny has taken on, but him and the A-car haven't had the same success. You can't be the villain, and it doesn't really work as well if you're not winning, and Denny Hamlin is doing just that.
Check us out each week on the Performance Racing Network.
Did you know that 9 out of 10 Americans are sick of the divisions in our country? But there's one small step we can take to remember that we're still connected. All over America, strangers with different political views are coming together to talk about their lives, not politics. and discovering they actually have a lot in common. Because even if we don't see eye to eye, we can still talk heart to heart. So let's talk for a change. Learn more at takeonesmallstep.org.
It's Fast Talk here on PRN, the Performance Racing Network, edging ever closer to determining a champion for 2025. But we got 7 delicious races still coming up. All right, I'm going to give each one of you a mega team to dissect and tell me the good and the bad. Brad Gilley, let's start with you. You get Hendrick Motorsports, and there are 3 remaining drivers that are in the playoffs since we said goodbye to Alex Bowman. Remember those scenes in the original Walking Dead? Where they always had,
yes,
and this show was in memory, and then they would list everybody that got killed on that episode,
and they would show them getting killed. Yeah, I love that.
That's good.
In memoriam.
Mossy zombie that looked like a fence post.
Oh my gosh!
Random guy. So anyway,
that would be a great one.
Alex Bowman is still with us, but just not in the playoff sense.
Yeah.
So Brad, you.
All right, so this is the tough thing. All right, we were just talking about Kyle Larson in the last segment. His average starting spot in the first 3 playoff races is 4th, but his average finish is beyond 20th. So they're fast, at least on Saturday, or in the case of Bristol, Friday, but it's just not working out for him when it comes to race time. Chase Elliott, I almost feel, is just the exact opposite, that they've not been very good in qualifying, but they found a way to be up front at the end. And William Byron and Rudy Fugle, it's all of a sudden they're just sort of living in mediocrity, and that's great to get you out of the first round, but I don't know that gets you out of the next round. I don't know that gets you into the championship 4. So for Hendrick Motorsports, I would say, look, you're not going to 8th place finish your way into the championship 4, and I feel like right now that's just simply where they are. So if you're a Hendrick fan, I think you need to step up. I think you need to find a checkered flag, and it's been a while since we've seen that.
All right, that just sounds weird, but I'm agreeing with Brad. I don't see a lot of sparkle coming from the campus of Hendrick Motorsport right now. Could change, but you keep saying that. Could change. Does it? They don't pass the eyeball test.
No.
Kyle Petty, all right, I'm going to assign you Team Penske.
Penske.
They still have 3 cars running for the championship. Defending champion Joey Logano, past champion Ryan Blaney, and Austin Cindric are all still kicking around.
Which when I look at that and I look at those 3 teams, I rank them Blaney, Cindric, and then Logano last. Which I never thought that those words would come out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because Joey has been the beacon. He has been the light there. He has been the guy who could make something from nothing. But they're not making anything this year. I go back to Blaney, and I'll switch over to Blaney, and Blaney has had speed all year long. Remember when he ran up front early in the year and they'd break a motor or something would happen? He had a lot of DNFs, but they had speed. And that's what they need right now. That's what Logano needs. Cindric is just kind of there. He's maintaining, and that's okay, because that's all you have to do in round 1 and maybe even in round 2 is maintain. But at some point in time, he's got to put a foot forward. He's got to step forward. And I say this all the time. I think there's teams. And Bubba Wallace, we mentioned that team earlier. I think there's teams who you give them a little bit of motivation, or they reach a little bit deeper when the big games come, or when something. And there's teams like that out there. I think the Penske organization right now is reaching into that bag, but there's nothing in that bag. They're finding and there's nothing that they can reach into that will elevate them to that next level, because they've just basically run these first 3 races like they ran the previous 26 races. So I think they're in trouble. At least Cindric and Logano is in trouble. I think Blaney has a shot at making it to Phoenix.
All right, Alexis, as we spin the wheel of destiny, that means you come up and get to break down Joe Gibbs Racing.
Well, I mean, when you look at the opening round for Joe Gibbs Racing, 3 wins. Denny Hamlin faltered, I guess you could say, a little bit at Bristol, but it didn't really matter because he had, the Gateway win. Then you look at Chase Briscoe. He probably had the best opening round of anybody when you look at first, second, and ninth. And so when you're looking at Joe Gibbs Racing, I'm thinking they could have one or multiple drivers make it all the way to the Final Four. I think, when you look at the Gateway success, that could translate to Phoenix. When you look at certain things from a short track perspective, that can translate to Phoenix. But when you look at them overall, I think they are probably right now sitting the strongest just because of what we've seen so far. But as Brad said earlier, every round is different. Every round is shaped differently with different racetracks. We could go to this next round that has, the Roval in it and Kansas and New Hampshire and have a completely different outcome for Joe Gibbs Racing. So right now I see them as the leader in the clubhouse, but I also see and know how quickly that can change.
Yeah, they made a clean sweep of the first 3 playoff races. Brad Gilly, those that are not included in the chosen 3 of Hendrick, Gibbs, and Penske, 2 2311 cars in Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, and then the lone Trackhouse entry of Ross Chastain is still left standing. Which one of these, I think I know how you're going to answer this, can make the most noise?
Right now, it's Bubba, hands down. I mean, again, the first 3 races of the playoffs, he was third best in terms of points collected. They kept running up front, a couple of top 10 finishes. I mean, they've done everything. I feel like Ross, they've qualified better, a whole lot better, and that's one thing they absolutely needed. But they need to have more consistency, and they just need to be further up in the field. And starting this round from behind the cut line, I think is going to be hard for Chastain. Even though he's only at -2 right now, there's still a lot going on when it comes to New Hampshire, Kansas, and the Roval. So I think Bubba, among the rest, is going to be the best. I don't feel that way about his teammate Tyler Reddick, however.
I will be glad to wear the hair shirt on this. I got caught up in the moment and the hysteria of Shane Van Gisbergen, thinking all he's got to do is finish 20th 3 races in a row, and he'll advance to the second round of the playoffs, and then he'll win the Roval, and all will be good. And Kyle, I guess that was too much. I got caught up in the hype. Yeah, he's getting better on the ovals. And if anything, for the 3 playoff races, he looked more confused and worse than he had before.
I don't know if it was the pressure of the playoffs and never being in that situation before and in an elimination style playoffs like this. I don't know what it was, but yes, I thought that he could fall off the truck and they should have run in the top 20. That's the same way I feel about Chase Elliott, that they should be able to fall off. A Hendrick car should be able to fall off the truck and run in the top 20 at a cup race. But he just could not get it done, man. Just could not make that happen. And I look at Chastain and we look at that organization. I felt like that organization made some strides during the year. So by the time we got to the end of the 26 regular season races, they were only a half step behind. But once we started the playoffs, they're a step and a half behind. They are a team that I talked about that I don't believe picked it up a notch. They've just maintained. So to start under that cut line is going to be tough, I think, for him in this round. But this round, who knows? This round may play into some of his strengths on a flatter racetrack. We've seen him do good at places like New Hampshire. And we go to Kansas. That's his style racetrack. So this is a place that they could do something. But at the same time, they've not shown that they can. And they're going to have to show it in the playoffs.
Alexis, he's been in the news more than any single driver this year. He has won more races than any driver this year. Do we even let ourselves be entertained in a somewhat Disney-esque, whimsical kind of way that this can be, dare I say, Denny Hamlin's year? I know he doesn't want to hear that, but Denny, we got to talk about you.
I think so. Yeah. And I mean, I know I could be crazy because you look at the trends and you look at what has happened to him and he has been in this position. I know that, in my decade of doing this show, we have talked about the same exact thing many, many years in a row, and they have never worked out in his favor. But yes, I do feel like in kind of a weird way because of this year and what else is transpiring off the track, that fate might have it be his year, you know?
Brad, is that too much to ask? Do you even allow in the dark recesses of your mind to imagine Denny Hamlin winning?
Black flag.
Look, this is what the numbers dictate. He's made the championship four times, and he's led a grand total of 51 laps in those 4 appearances. 50 of those laps were led in the very first one in 2014. So when it comes to that moment, Denny Hamlin's been able to step up in many great moments. He has multiple wins in crown jewel events, but when it comes to the championship one, he's not been able to do that yet. That being said, to Alexa's point and the way the cosmos works and all of that, with all the things going on with Denny Hamlin, including the fact that he is pretty vocal about not liking this playoffs format, would he stand up on that stage and declare himself an illegitimate champion? I don't know. I like the playoffs format. I know that's a different conversation, but it would be pretty funny with all of the talk right now if he's able to win it in this way when he's not been able to win it in any other.
Yeah, and this is what I'm going to say. I used to play basketball with a kid that would take a handful of aspirin before every game. And if he had a good game, man, he overcome something. If he had a bad game, it was because he had a headache. And so he already had his excuse. He had that built-in excuse. My thing with Denny right now is this, is we have talked champion. Denny, if you listen to him talk in recent months, has changed the narrative. It's 60, 60, 60.
Right.
He's trying to get to 60. So my point is, if he doesn't win the championship, I believe he's going to get to 60 before the end of the year. He may get to 61 before the end of the year. And my point is, he's going to say, yeah, but I got to 61. I didn't need the championship. So he's got his built-in piece right there. But Denny has tried to change the narrative from all of us, from all of the media, instead of pointing at him saying, will he win? We're looking at 60. And I say this, and I thought about this the other day. I was looking through some stats and just searching something else. And out of the top 20, if you look at the list of winners from Richard Petty down to the 20th position, only 3 guys in the top 20 have not won championships of major winners. And that's Mark Martin and Junior Johnson. Nobody ever looks at Junior Johnson and says, man, Junior Johnson never won a championship. Must not have been much of a driver. That's a hole in his. Nobody ever looked at a hole in Junior Johnson's resume because he wasn't a championship driver. If Denny Hamlin gets to 60, there is no hole in his resume. We may want to call it a hole, but I don't believe there's a hole in a resume for a guy that's won that many races.
And I think it's interesting, too, and it just popped in my head when you said that we look at Bill Elliott as legendary, almost Mount Rushmore type driver. Won 1 title.
Yes, that's right.
Gave one up. He spit the bit the year that they won more races than anybody else, and Darrell Waltrip and that bunch talked him out of it.
Yeah, didn't win 50 races either.
And we look at that, but he is legendary.
Yeah, no.
He's almost deified. Rusty Wallace, same way. Rusty Wallace, great driver, won championship.
Yeah.
No, and Rusty didn't get a Daytona 500. Denny's already got 3 of those.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say one's better than the other.
Yeah. And I think I think that's where Denny's at with the 60 is he's changing the focus to say 60 is a big deal too, people.
Yeah.
60 is a big deal.
It is.
It is a huge deal. I keep going on and on about it, and I know I'm going to get hit in the side of the head with it because everything I say I get hit in the side of the head with. But he may honestly be the last guy we see to get to 60. I don't care. Look at the year that Kyle Larson's having at this point in time in the year. Look at Joey Logano's year this year. If you let a couple of years pass and you only win 2 or 3 races, you're not going to get to 60, people. 60 is that number that is going to just be out there because so many people. We talked about the Gibbs, the Hendrick, and the Penske. They steal wins from each other.
I don't like the idea of getting you hit in the head because it reminds me of that scene in Tommy Boy. Where does it hurt?
Yes, that's it.
Here? Not so much here.
Not so much here.
All right, we'll take a couple more whacks at Kyle Petty when we come back at Green Flag, Black Flag.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance?
800-419-1971. 800-419-1971. 800-419-1971. That's 800-419-1971.
I'm Joey Logano, and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
Whether it's skating around the racetrack on a set of rollerblades or turning laps in a Legends car, join JC Fickenshire on JC's Garage.
All it takes is one win, and that one win can completely clear the driver's mind. I could even see it happening if Todd Gilliland wins a race or Noah Gragson wins a race, Zane Smith wins a race. These guys are guys who are just searching for one win, one chance.
JC's Garage, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to join us for Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown.
Each week, we'll put it in reverse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
I think we may have a show in the future, Kyle, and dedicate it to that 60 number. It was also a big number in baseball with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris chasing him and trying to break that record of Babe Ruth. And there's just so much around that. But I'm intrigued by the fact that you say that 60 may be the new 100.
Yeah. And that's just the way I feel. Just watching what Kale and Bobby and my dad and Pearson and those guys, then watching what Earnhardt came along and did, and the people that he raced against, and then watching now, when we have 14 winners average every season, it's tough to win a lot of races. It's just tough, man, because they're all taking them from each other. I just told you the story. 1974, my dad, Kale, Pearson, and Bobby Allison won all the races except for one race, and Earl Ross won it at Martinsville. So listen, when you're doing that, you can win 7 or 8 races every year, and even if somebody wins 12 or 13, you're still getting your 7 or 8. You're not going to get your 7 or 8 year in and year out to get to that 80 number like those guys did, and 60 is just going to be a magical number.
Although Denny Hamlin's got a shot at getting 6, maybe 7 this year.
Yes.
I think
he
5
does.
now.
Yeah, listen, I think he's going to blow through 60. At some point in time over the next couple of years, we're gonna see the other side of 60. But I'm just saying the 60, the 60 is a magic number.
And Denny's not also racing the competition; he's racing the calendar.
That's right.
Yes,
that's exactly right. Great point.
And what is the calendar, Alexis? It's undefeated.
Undefeated.
Oh, there we
go.
Undefeated.
That's profound.
Let's do this.
It's time for another edition of Green Flag, Black Flag.
And we do this because the public demands it. Got some statements going to read here to our panel. Carefully prepared statements. If they if they agree with the statement I have just read, it will get a green flag. If they disagree, all righty, off we go. Kyle Petty, you're up first.
Ooh.
Yeah. Pop quiz. A big three driver will win all of the remaining races. Give Hendrick and Penske.
Oh, black flag.
Oh.
Yeah, black flag. I'm not sure the big 3 driver will win all of the remaining races. Remember, we've got my man on the end down here, Doug Rice, who's the president of the SVG fan club. He already had him penciled in at the Roval, so I'm going to throw that in.
All right, Brad Gilly.
I will say Black Flag as well. We're going to have some surprises here in the final 7.
Want to name one?
Based on my better half being a fan, she'll be there at New Hampshire and would love to see Ross Chastain win again this weekend.
Okay, Alexis Erickson. I'm sorry, Doug Rice.
Black Flag. Because I can't just abandon my heartthrob SVG here at the Roval, so I think he wins that.
He wants to, though.
But I want it. I do. I've got one foot on his butt ready to push him out of the boat.
All right, Alexis, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Black Flag, too, because I think, he is the favorite to win the Roval. But then you also have Talladega, and you never know what can happen at Talladega.
We forgot about Talladega.
You forgot about
How can you forget about Talladega? How do we forget Talladega?
That sounds like a book. I forgot about Talladega.
Because of what happened when I was at Talladega.
All right, let's go to Brad Gilly on this one here. We're going to have a non-playoff winner in the last 7 somewhere. Non-playoff.
Well, I would say Green Flag. We will have a non-playoffs winner. I'm not going to give the Roval to Shane Van Gisbergen, however. But I do think between the Roval and Talladega, and who knows, maybe New Hampshire and Kansas Speedway and Martinsville and Las Vegas, we will have a non-playoffs winner go to victory lane.
Doug, a non-playoff winner?
Green Flag. Because Alexis stirred something in my brain about Talladega, and I could see like a Hocevar type guy winning down there, maybe.
Yeah,
not really him, but
I'm going to say Green Flag too. I think you absolutely could get a non-playoffs winner. I think we always think that the cream rises to the top, and they do certainly. And you're going to have more playoff winners than non-playoff winners, but it is a possibility.
Kyle, unanimous?
Yeah, I'm going to go anonymous. Yes,
anonymous.
But is the clarification of a non-playoff winner is that if you get kicked out of the playoffs, are you
that's
non-playoff?
Yeah,
you're
non-playoff. Yeah.
Definitely anonymous. Definitely.
All right. Doug Rice.
Yes, sir.
You will see at least one driver from the Big Three fall out of this round.
That means that
at least one from
Bubba
each team.
or Tyler Reddick
that's not in the top?
or
Wait.
Chastain would have to hang around. Yes, because I think one of those guys, there's only 3 non-Big Three people in there. 2 of those would have to make it. And I think Chastain and Bubba will make it to the round of 8.
Yep.
All right. How about it, Alexis?
Read it to me again.
You will see. You will see at least one driver from the Big Three fall out of this round.
Yeah, I'm going to say Green Flag.
Yeah.
I think it's certainly possible. Yeah, Green Flag.
All right, Kyle.
Yeah, can you read your list of beers to me one more time?
Yes, I will.
No. I'm going to say Green Flag. I'm going to say Green Flag. I'm going to say Green Flag. Yeah, for sure.
All right. How about Brad?
I'll say Black Flag because I think all 3 Gibbs drivers get through, but I do think we're going to lose at least one from Hendrick and at least one from Penske from this round.
All right. Got time for a quickie here. I think we'll do this here. Let's go to Brad for this one. Kyle Petty's bad moods are better than most people's good moods.
Oh, Green Flag. Like I said, I want a song or 2 out of whatever went down with him yesterday or at Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
Doug?
Yeah.
Yes, we love agitated Kyle Petty.
Right. Alexis?
Yes, Green Flag all the way. And I love the fact that when he comes here, that lifts his spirit.
Yes, it does.
So.
And listen, I can't vote on this, and I'm going to have to call my wife. To get her vote on this one.
There you go.
It won't be anonymous then.
It won't be.
That's it.
All right.
Great. Off to Doug Rice.
All right, that was all very wonderful and delightful, and I feel nothing but sunshine and rainbows at this moment. So we'll take a break, and we'll come back with one last thing.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 Octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR. From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
grab a friend and pack the cooler. Saturday Night Racing returns to North Wilkesboro Speedway October 18th for the ZMAX Cars Tour Championship. See rising stars like Keelan Harvick compete against short track racing's best in season finals for Pro Late Model Stock, and the Smart Modified Tour. Party down North Wilkesboro style with the ZMAX Cars Tour Saturday, October 18th. For tickets, visit northwilkesborospeedway.com.
This is Christopher Bell, and you're listening to PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
It's New Hampshire.
Start your engine!
Green flag is in the air, and Chase Elliott gets a quick jump on the outside.
Two cars together. Chase Elliott is involved. He spins. He tangled with the car of Joey Logano.
In near darkness on a damp racetrack, Christopher Bell is going to win the USA Today 301.
It's the NASCAR Cup Series 301 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Sunday, September 21st at 1 o'clock Eastern on PRN.
Walk in Mess is so uplifting. You see how the community rallies around us, saying we're going to fight this thing with you, no matter how long it takes or what it takes.
I love the energy at Walk MS. It is community, it is family. I can ride that high for the rest of the year.
A cure is on the line for me.
A cure is on the line for all of us.
By the way, quickly need to give you the Toyota Performance Report from Bristol Motor Speedway. They won the race. They won all the races in the playoffs.
Yes, they did.
Christopher Bell rallies at the end. He only led 12 laps. Brad Gilley led the money lap, and that's where they pay out the last time I looked.
Yeah, that's the one that counted. And look, throughout the night, we were thinking, could this be Ty Gibbs' night to get his first win? And when it was all said and done, it was C. Bell. And a nice victory for them, especially coming off of the week they had at Gateway with some post-race in-car audio that got played quite a bit this last week leading into Bristol.
And I felt even a little bad for Ty Gibbs because he had nobody but himself to blame on that one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they overshoot the entrance to pit road, and that one bobble unraveled everything else. And I think Ty Gibbs is starting to become Bristol is to him like Austin Dillon is to Richmond.
Yeah.
He shows up there and runs really well. Yeah. Let's do this right now.
One last thing.
Brad Gilley, let's make these quick. What do you got?
All right. That one bobble is what I like about our sport, though. And I know there's a lot of debate about the playoffs format. Whatever happens, happens. But I like a format that encourages great moments and great moments where you have to step up. Ty Gibbs was fantastic Saturday night, but he had the bobble. But we've seen other parts of our playoffs, and I know he's not a playoffs driver, where people have been forced to step up in great moments to make great things happen. However it shakes out, that's what I want to see. I want to see people forced to step up in great moments.
Kyle Petty.
So this is more of a one last thing to the engraver of the championship trophy. We've seen JGR and 3 of its drivers sweep the first round. We have only seen that one time in the playoffs in 2015. Joey Logano won 3 races in one round. And at the end of the year, that championship trophy did not have Penske on it and did not have a Penske driver on it. So don't get too far ahead of yourself and out over your skis to think that just because JGR and their drivers have swept a round, and it's only been done for the second time in elimination playoffs, that one of those drivers may go on because there's other guys still competing.
Great point.
Alexis.
Great point. Saturday, this past Saturday, Doug and I did a little road trip together to Bristol, Tennessee, where we got to go and have lunch with our team and say goodbye to longtime turn announcer Rob Albright, 29 years in the business. So I just want to give a shout out to Rob. Thank you for everything that you have done. We're going to miss you, buddy.
And thanks to the folks at Bristol Motor Speedway, they gave Rob as a lovely parting gift one of the gladiator swords that
So cool.
race winners get up there, and a nice case. taking a nice farewell. So, Rob, it was fun working with you for nearly 3 decades, and I'm glad you got the send-off you deserve. Hey, coming up next week, PRN has all the action again as they will head back up to lovely New England and bring you the race from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So make sure you make plans to tune in this coming Sunday for all the action from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. For Kyle Petty, Alexis Erickson, and Brad Gilley, I'm Doug Rice. Hey, join us next week. You know what? We'll be back with a whole bunch more Fast Talk.
Fast Talk was presented by Toyota. For the latest Toyota Gazoo racing information, visit tgrna.com. And by Sunoco. From NASCAR to your car, Sunoco Fuel helps your car reach peak performance. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.